Today we're gonna do the how we met video, and some people know how we met, and some people are gonna be really freaked out / surprised maybe. I don't know how this is gonna go, so yeah, let's just get into it. How did we meet?
Twitter.
We met on Twitter. It sounds so creepy and weird, but I don't know.
It's not that creepy if you think about it.
Okay, so let's explain. So, if you're a lesbian, you understand, like, the lesbian world is really close and really tight. Like, everybody either knows everybody or knows of them or has dated them or their ex-girlfriend. Like, that's just how it happens. Like, somehow you have a bunch of connections to any lesbian on the East Coast, definitely, and sometimes in the whole world. So, like, I know lesbians out in California and New York. Like, you just know lesbians. And if you're a lesbian, it's easy to meet other lesbians because they're friends with lesbians, and you don't have to get, like, this weird, awkward, like, how do we know each other? Like, you just automatically know each other because you're lesbians. Especially since Twitter and Instagram, like, everyone knows lesbians. So,
everybody knows lesbians.
Madison and I on Twitter, like, followed, like, the same people, and, like, we knew of the same people, and, like, we had certain friends that were, like, similar and stuff. And one day I saw, like, one of my followers or something, like, tweet at her, and I was like, whoa, that girl has some cool hair. Like, I want to go see her pictures. So I went to go look at her pictures, and I couldn't see her pictures unless I followed her. So, I don't like this. So, I went and to try to follow her. And something happened with my Twitter, like, it shut down in the middle of me following her, and, like, it, like, rebooted itself. So I was like, oh, whatever, like, not a big deal. She had cool hair, but whatever. Like, it wasn't, like,
it wasn't meant to be.
Yeah, it wasn't, like, serious for me, like, that I couldn't follow her. So I was like, whatever. And then, I want to say, like, 2 weeks later, she followed me on Twitter. So I was like, oh, sweet, like, I can go look at her pictures. So I, like, went and looked at her pictures. And then, I don't know how long it was after that. Like, we weren't, like, a priority to each other. Like, it wasn't serious. So, like, one day, I saw her tweet something, and it came up on my timeline, and she tweeted something about cats. And, like, at this point in my life, I was having a serious obsession with, like, naked cats. And, like, I really wanted a naked cat. Gross. So she tweeted about cats, so I, like, tweeted at her something about naked cats. I don't even know what we were talking about, really. So we started tweeting at each other that night, and, like, we were, like, joking around and, like, laughing and, like, whatever. So then Madison direct messaged me.
DM.
And what'd you say? Something really gay, like, do you want to stop, like, messing around?
I said, stop messing. Can I cuss on here?
No, just don't.
I said, stop messing around and text me or something.
Yeah, like, she was trying to be, like, slick about it, and I was like...
I was slick about it.
I was like, OMG, she's so cute.
Yeah, and I won you over from that first DM.
Alright, we'll get to that part. So then, I was like, hell yeah, you could text me, but I didn't say that. I was like, yeah, this is my number, whatever. So we started texting that night, and we texted for, like, 2 days straight. Like, we just talked about everything, like, hey, like, I know this person, you know this person, and this is what I'm doing in my life, and this is how old I am, this is whatever. So we were the same age, we were in the same grade, like, we were going through the same thing. So I think I just finished my junior year, and she still had, like, a couple days of her junior year.
Yeah.
So we did all that, and then we, like, realized, like, we both were, like, really had, like, a lot of similarities, and, like, we enjoyed talking to each other. So then, you know, we were texting, and then one day I was like, I'm going to call her. Like, I just want to talk to her. So I called her.
Scariest moment of my life. I remember where I was the first time you called me.
She called me. I called her, and she forwarded me the voicemail.
I was freaking out. I was so like, scared.
Oh.
I played it all cool at the beginning until you called me, and shit got serious.
So she forwarded me a voicemail, so I was like, oh, that's awkward and weird. Like, okay, I guess she doesn't want to talk. So then she texted me and was like, hey, I'm doing something. I'll call you later. And I was like, yeah, like, whatever. So she texted me later that night and was like, hey, I'm about to call you, like, be by your phone. And I was getting ready to go out with my friends, so, like, I, like, obviously stopped what I was doing and, like, waited for her to call. So she called me, And I still remember the first thing she said because it, like, I don't know, it was so cute. And it was the first time I heard her voice. So I was, like, so happy. So I, like, answered. I was like, hello. Like, hey, what's up? And she was like, hey, love. And I was like, oh, she thinks I'm her love. Like, I don't know. I was like, I don't know.
And you were mine from that moment on.
Stop. Let's just tell the story. So I was like, yeah, like I already like her. So we talked on the phone for like a good 3 hours that night. And then my friends came in and they were like, hey, what the hell? We're all ready and you're not ready. And like, we have to leave in 10 minutes. So I'm like, oh my God, I have to go. Like, I'll call you later. So then I got ready and left. And like, we were texting and we texted all that night. And what happened after that? We were texting for a long time. And we would talk on the phone at night. And like, eventually I was like, hey, let's Skype because, you know, I've seen catfish. And yeah.
You want to make sure I wasn't fake?
I wanted to make sure like everything was like okay. So we would like Skype all night long. Like Skype from like 7 p.m. to like early in the morning.
Like 4 a.m.
Yeah, and we would talk on the phone and we texted constantly. So like we were both trying to be like super slick about it. And plus she lived in North Carolina and I lived in South Carolina. So we were 2 hours away. So we were like, oh, this is not going to go anywhere. But like we both like really like each other. Like we were discovering that we liked each other. And it was fun talking to each other. And then, like, Madison would do things to me. She did it once where I know where it was too when it happened. She was like, hey, I like you so much. And would, like, tell me how much she liked me. And then she would be like, but, you know, it's never going to work, so we might as well stop texting now. So she would, like, bring me up here and then drop me down really quick.
I didn't think that I was ever going to get to South Carolina to see you. And, like, you had never, like, even talked about or, like, made an effort to come see me. So I was like, why am I wasting my time if we're never going to
But this was, like, in 2 weeks. Like, all this happened within the first 2 weeks of us talking on Twitter. We started going through, like, I really like you, but it's never going to work out, so we might as well stop talking. So the first time she did that to me, she was like, you know, it's not going to work out. Let's just stop talking. So I was like, okay, let's stop talking. Like, whatever. Cut our losses within 2 weeks. No big deal. Like, I like this chick, but whatever. So we did that. And I think, like, the whole next day, I was like, I want to talk to Madison. Like, what should I do? And I was, like, trying to come up with excuses. Like, okay, I could text her and, like, say this or this or this. And I was like, no, like, you're being so stupid. This girl doesn't want to talk to you. Don't text her. So I didn't text her for like a day after that. And I was on vacation at the beach with one of my friends. And then I was like, oh my God, it's killing me. I had to text Madison. So I sent her a song and she texted me back about it. And then we talked.
You know what song it was?
Yeah, but yeah. So we talked and then, you know, whatever. So then we like got back to normal terms. And then a few days later, I was watching movies with my friends and she texted me like, hey, I really like you. You're really awesome. You're the only person I want to be with. But it's never going to work, so let's just stop talking. So I was like, this chick is ridiculous. Like, I'm not going through this a second time. So she kept doing that to me. And we would get in, like, these huge fights. Not really fights, but, like, stop wasting my time if you're going to just keep telling me that's not going to work.
Yeah.
So that happened a lot. Twice, actually. Yeah. And after the second time, I was like, this is ridiculous. Let's meet in person. Like, we really like each other, and we keep texting, and we Skype, and we talk on the phone all the time. But you keep telling me how it's not going to work, and, like, I'm just sick of it. Let's meet. So she's like, okay. So we were like, you know, we'll meet sometime this weekend. And then that Friday, I went to work, and I got there at, like, 4, and at 5, he was like, you know what? It's going to be really dead. You haven't had a couple of days off in a while. Why don't you just leave tonight? You know, take the night off. And I was like, yes, but then I was like, no, because that's the perfect excuse to go see Madison, and I'm so nervous. So I text Madison, and I'm like, hey, what do you think about me coming tonight? And she was like, yeah, that's cool, come on. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so nervous. So then I called one of my friends, she met me at work, and she actually went and cleaned out my car and filled it up with gas, because I was like, I can't do it, and I was still working at that point. So once I finally got off work, we went to my house, and I remember, like, sitting on my bed, just, like, taking my time, and Madison texted me, I was like, hurry up and get here, like, what, you're taking forever, like, what are you doing?
You were like, yeah, I'm leaving work, like, I'm coming, and I thought you were, like, literally leaving work and coming there, and then, like, 2 hours had passed, and I was like, she should have been here by now, and I was like, hey, what's up? And you were like, oh, I'm laying on my bed.
Yeah. Like, I was like, taking
like,
my sweet ass time.
As soon as you texted me and you were like, hey, like, do you want to hang out today? And I was like, yeah. So I had, like, texted one of my best friends at the time, and I was like, hey, let's hang out. Like, I have someone coming to meet me later. Like, let's just hang out and do whatever. And then you took, like, 5 hours to get over
Yeah,
there.
like, I took my time. You know, I think I ate dinner at my house, and my mom cooked me dinner. And then I went to my other friend's house who I was supposed to be going out with that night and, like, hung out with them. And then I left because I was like, And it was, like, 7 by the time I left, and I got up at, like, 5. So I was like, yeah, this isn't, like, whatever. So on my way there, I'm, like, super nervous. Oh, by the way, we're not talking about... Okay. So I was, like, super nervous the whole way there, and, like... I was, like, psyching myself out. I was like, this is not really happening. And my friend's like, oh, like, you know, it'll be fine. You guys really like each other. Like, you Skype. There's nothing to worry about. And I was like, what if she thinks I'm stupid in person? What if she thinks I'm ugly? Like, what do I do? So I was, like, super nervous. So then, you know, the whole way there, I'm, like, trying not to think about it. Like, and I think it rained really, really bad the whole way there. So, like, my car was hydroplaning, and it was, like, super dark, and it was just awful. And I was like, oh, my God. And then Madison couldn't even give me a real, like, address to where she was. So I was just going to the town she lived in and then gonna call her and get directions.
Yeah, and I was giving, like landmark directions.
Yeah, and they sucked. So we got so lost. And I'd be like, hey, this is the street we're on. And they're like, we have no idea what that is. So I'm like, okay. So we're like 20 minutes from her house, and we were super lost. And I was like, you know what? We're gonna stop at a gas station. I'm gonna get something to drink. I'll call you back. Like, I can't right now. So I remember, like, getting a drink, going to the bathroom, and my friend's like, you look so good, Sydney. Like, she's gonna so like you. Like, you look so great. And I'm standing out in my car, like, pacing. Like, I can't do this. Like, I never met someone off of line like this. And, like, I just drove 2 hours to meet her. We both really like each other, but, like, we've never met. Like, this is so weird. This is, like, something from, like, a Predator movie. Like, I was, like, freaking out. So I'm, like, pacing out around my car, and, like, these black guys keep saying, like, weird shit to me. So I'm like, all right, I have to go. Like, I have to go. So I get in my car, and we're driving to her house, and I'm like, I can't do it. Like, I'm, like, driving. I'm like, I can't do it. We have to go home. I can't do this.
I wasn't even nervous.
And my friend's like, no, you're going. Like, you're going right now. We already drove all this way. Like, you have to go meet her. So I'm like, shit, okay, I have to go meet her. Whatever. So we finally find where she is, which takes forever because she doesn't know how to give directions, and, like, they sucked. So we finally get there.
I lived in that town my whole life. And she was like, oh, yeah, I'm on this road. And I was like, I have no idea where that is. Tell me what you're near.
Yeah. So we finally get there, and I'm so nervous. I don't want to get out of the car. And I'm like, holy crap. Like, she's so close to me, and I don't want to get out and see her. Like, I'm just so scared.
You're like 20 feet from me, and I saw you.
Are we leaving stuff out? I feel like we are.
No. You were like 20 feet from me, and I like saw you like getting out of your car, and then you like stood there, like fixed your hair, like pretended to grab something out of your car, like totally killing time. And I was sitting there with my best friend, and I was like, what is she doing? And it took you it took you so long. Like, it felt like forever for you to walk up the sidewalk to me.
Yeah, I was so nervous. And then I got there, and she said, hey, grab a racket.
I was playing tennis.
I
had been playing tennis for the past 2 hours waiting on her to get there. Well, like 3 hours because you didn't leave when you said you were going to. And I was playing tennis, and I was, like, so in the zone. Like, I just wanted to play tennis. And then Sydney got there, and I had brought, like, extra rackets so that her and her friend could play as soon as I got there. So Sydney got there, and I was like, hey, grab a racket. And she just, like, looked at me. And then me and my best friend and her friend that she brought, we all played tennis. And Sydney kind of stood there, like, holding a racket, like, under her arm and, like, texting. And I was like, oh, my God, like, this girl is, like, not into me at all. She's literally standing there texting. And I was like, why is she here? She drove 2 hours here so she could text and not hang out with me.
I was nervous, and I don't like playing tennis, and I didn't want to play tennis. And it was humid as hell because it had just rained, and it was hot as hell because it was the middle of summer.
It was like June.
And I was like, this is not what we're doing. So then tell them what we did the rest of the night.
Well, kind of just like an overview. We left there, and I think we went back to that gas station, like got drinks, food, whatever, and then...
No, we went to a different one.
Basically, we drove around from neighborhood to neighborhood throughout Indian Trail, and like all the neighborhoods, all the parks, and...
We swung. We swung or we swang?
Swang? We swang. Like in Lake Park, some neighborhood by Shanamara, Chrismark, Annandale, Bonterra, whatever then Casey's neighborhood.
Whatever it is.
We went to like 9 neighborhoods, literally just like
played on the park.
driving, playing on the park, and then my friend ended up like falling asleep in the car, and then her friend was just like doing her own thing, and me and Sydney basically had like one-on-one time, and we just like talked and caught up and like basically
we laid on a tennis court and talked for like 2 hours. Like we just laid there and looked at the stars and talked, and like I don't know, I still didn't know if she liked me. Like I was just like,
we laid on the Chrismark tennis courts for a couple hours.
Just talking. Like,
until it got ridiculously cold. And then we ended up taking Kelly home. And then we went, I think, back to Lake Park. And then hung out in Lake Park for the rest of the night. And we were in the Bonterra basketball courts for a while.
Yep.
And so I was staying the night at Kelly's that night. So, we had hung out. What time would you say you got there? Like 8 or 9?
Say about the car part when I first realized that you liked me.
Oh, okay. So we were sitting in the car because it was like really cold outside. So we were all just like sitting in the car talking. And Sydney was in the front seat, and then Hannah was in the passenger seat, and me and Kelly were in the back seats. And we were all just like talking whatever. And then like, at this point, like I didn't think that Sydney was into me, and she didn't think that I was into her. But I was like so nervous. Like I wanted to make a move, but I didn't know how because I was like super scared, and because I didn't think she liked me. So I was like, why make a move if she doesn't like me? So you leaned your seat back, right?
Yeah, I was
Sydney leaned her seat back like onto me, and I like leaned forward, and I was like holding her from like behind the seat, and then that was like our broke the ice, like we're comfortable. Like I like her, she likes me kind of thing. And then the rest of the night was like holding hands, kissing, hugging, being cute, stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's all it took. Who knew? Because we spent like the first we spent like the first 2 hours just like awkwardly talking. No, we kissed the second time. No, we kissed when you left. That was the first time.
Yeah, I was so nervous. Like it was like 6 or 8 a.m. or something.
No, you had school the next morning, so it was 6 a.m.
It was 6 a.m. and I was dropping Madison off at Kelly's house. At 6 a.m. we had hung out the whole night, like just talking and doing
from
whatever.
Like 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. And we were standing in the road, and like it was so early, like the sun was out and everything. And then the newspaper guy drove by. Like literally, we're standing in the road, like saying bye to each other. Didn't even realize what time it was. And the newspaper guy and like the mailman are coming by, like putting things in people's mailbox. And I was like, what time is it? And we ended up looking at it, and I was like, oh my god, like we spent all night together. And then most awkward moment of my life, me and Sydney are standing outside of like at the end of Kelly's driveway in the road, like hugging, like trying to say bye to each other because like it took forever. And we're standing there, and I was staying at Kelly's house, and Kelly's dad walks outside, and I was like, that's Kelly's dad. Like I am out here at 6 a.m. and Kelly is in her house sleeping. And I was like, what do I do? And then he stood on his porch for a while, and me and Sydney like awkwardly stood there. Like I was hoping he didn't recognize me.
He was on his back porch though, so I honestly don't think he like realized anything.
I think he saw. And then you and I finally ended up saying bye. And then you had to drive. You got in the car.
This is how we said bye. I was too nervous to kiss Alice. We had never kissed before. And I was nervous, and she was nervous. And her smart ass said, what did you say?
Smooth. I said,
like, are you going to kiss me now or what?
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't do
because the whole, like, first half of the night, I didn't even know if you liked me. So I didn't want to, like, make the first move and, like, go in for a kiss, and you'd be like, whoa, like, I don't like you. We're just friends. So I put it on you, and I was like, you can kiss me or not. So I was like, are you going to kiss me, or are you just going to leave? And then
I kissed you.
Yeah. And then it took a really long time.
And then we kissed for, like, an hour. And then I had summer school. No, I had to be at school at 8 a.m. So I left Madison and went straight to school.
6 a.m. and drove 2 hours and then went straight to school. And then
no sleep.
I went straight into Kelly's house, and like her parents are like older, so they wake up really early. So let's say it was 6:30. I walked in the house like trying to be as quiet as I can, because like how do you explain that? Like you're staying at your best friend's house and you're out at 6 a.m. and she is like in her bed. So and plus no one knew of me and Sydney at the time. So
we didn't know of us at the time.
So I walked in the house, and Kelly's mom comes downstairs, and she was like, "Oh, hi, Madison." And I was like, hey, like, how's it
Her parents
going?
literally don't care, though, so that's the thing.
Yeah, but I didn't want to have to explain, like, oh, I was out there with my future girlfriend. So
that happened, and then I was leaving, and Madison texted me.
I was laying in Kelly's bed, and, like, I couldn't sleep. I was thinking about everything that had happened, like, thinking about how long our goodbye took and all that good stuff. And, first song that came in my mind was Enchanted by Taylor Swift. So I went to YouTube, copied the link, sent it to her, and I said something really cute, like something like, I can't stop thinking about you, this song makes me think about you. Something really cute that you would say after the first date, like first time you meet. So I sent that to Sydney, and then you like played it in the car and listened to it the whole way home.
And died of happiness.
Did you cry?
No, I didn't cry.
You didn't cry?
No.
Whatever. And then that's how we met. And then the second time we met, we did the same thing.
Drove around for hours.
Yeah, we went to all the parks again, except, like, this time, instead of awkwardly talking, we were, like, actually holding hands, like, flirting. Starting to develop more into a couple.
And that's how we met.
The first, like, 2 hours were really awkward.
Yeah, because we didn't know what to do with each other.
You weren't feeling me. You did not, like, you didn't want me.
It wasn't that I wasn't feeling her. I didn't know she was feeling me, so I didn't want to feel her, and her not feel me. You feel me?
I feel you. I didn't know what to do. I thought my grab a racket was gonna make us bond, and then you were gonna be like, yeah, like, I'm so into her, like, let's date right now. First 2 hours, it was like, so Hannah, how's the drive?
Well, now we're together a year and a half later, and we've met on friggin' Twitter.
No awkwardness now.
No, definitely not.
There's nothing awkward in between us now.
Nothing can happen that's awkward.
Talking to you is like talking to myself. Like, there's nothing that I can't say or do around you now.
And now we complete
Who knew
each
that
other.
would have happened?
We complete each other.
And I broke up with you twice before we were dating.
Met.
We weren't even dating. We weren't even, like, serious with each other. And I was like, yeah, like, I really, really like you, and I want to be with you, and I want...
You were, like, trying to let me down easy.
I was like, I want you in my life, and, like, I don't want anyone but you, but I don't want to be with you. Oh, and then Sydney, before or after we met, she...
I don't know what you're about to say.
Pretended...
Oh, OMG, you're not saying
I'm not going to say who.
Don't say anything.
Sydney pretended to be with someone to make me jealous.
I'm going to edit this out.
Well, all I'm saying is...
I didn't pretend to be with someone. Someone wanted to be...
You're going to edit it out? Why are you explaining?
I didn't pretend to be with someone. Someone wanted to be with me, and
I pretended to like them back to make me jealous.
Because Madison was talking to, like, 4 girls when we met. Like, literally, we would get off the phone, and then I wouldn't hear from her for 2 hours, and then I'd get on Instagram, and it was, like, a picture of her and the girl talking, and you'd be like, oh my god.
She watches this, she's gonna know.
Oh my god, best conversation ever. Best 2 hours I've ever had. That was the best time. So I was like, okay, she's playing me. So then I was like, yeah, I'm talking to girls too. Even though I wasn't talking to them back because I didn't have any interest. That you know of.
She wanted me.
And I got her.
She only wanted me.
So that's how that happened. So that's how we met. I know everyone wants to know, but we are not telling.
Hairless cats, that's what started us.
Yep, and Twitter.
So we better have
Thank Jesus for Twitter.
We better have a damn hairless cat when we get married.
I know, and our wedding's going to be Twitter themed. You don't think that's a good idea?
Take it back. Take it back.
There's going to be something about Twitter in there.
Take it back.
Okay, you're going to mess up my lip gloss.
Take it back.
But that's how we met, so
do you take it back?
We're going to end the video now.
Is our wedding really going to be Twitter themed?
No, shut up.
It's going to be hairless cat themed.
No.
It doesn't need to be anything about how we met themed.
Alright, we're done. Say goodbye.
Bye.